let's sort of start digging into the financials here, and we'll try and make these as simple as possible so that if people are wanting to kind of, do some calculations themselves, that it's not, they don't feel like they have to go to Harvard for like a mathematics degree so they can work this stuff out. So what I want to do is just like set out a simple equation here, which is really just like, if people who tend to get on the calls with me for sales, right, they're thinking about getting some mentorship. It's really common for people to have a revenue in their fitness business of somewhere between about 1 and 5K a month, right? Which means that they're billing their clients up to about 5,000 a month. It can be a little bit more than that. But then of course, we all know you've got to pay your gym a significant portion of that in rental fees and all that kind of stuff. So you don't necessarily get to keep all that money. But what we thought we'd map out today is how you can actually keep 10,000 per month after expenses and just mapping that out. So the first thing is, if you're going to get on a call with most mentors, I'm pretty sure that they're going to do this. They're going to say, well, what's your average sales price? Let's say it's $2,000. Well, you want to earn 10,000? Simple. You just got to make 5 sales, right? No, that couldn't be any further from the truth. That's absolute BS. Like, because you're going to earn 10K, you're going to have some people drop off, and then you're going to have expenses that are kind of going to come out of your end. You're not going to get anywhere close to that goal. So we need to factor in a lot more concessions into the formula so that you're going to have a chance of keeping that money, right? So the first thing we want to do is estimate, and this is very rough because we don't know you guys, we don't know your business. Assuming you're a one-person business, you don't have staff, we could probably make a really raw estimate that you'd be keeping approximately 50% of the profit, and about 50% would go to expenses in the form of perhaps advertising, perhaps software, and also tax as well. Right? So let's say 50% goes to tax and expenses. So that means that you need to be earning at least 20,000. But even that number isn't quite safe, because what you'll find in online is you're going to have some people that drop off. And we talk about this all the time, that, you get people who join your program with the best intentions. They join on a 12-week, 16-week, 26-week program, and then something happens. A family member gets sick, they get sick. Something personal happens, they just lose their mojo and they just drop off. But it's very, very common that a certain percentage of people are not going to pay you. What have you guys found is that sort of normal percentage of people that drop off in terms of payments?
With all of our clients, we run tracking sheets, right?
Yep.
And I think it's just always it's super, super important to work out the worst case scenario in terms of people not paying you. Like, obviously the variable here is going to be the quality of the program that you deliver. But assuming the quality of your program is really good, we just factor in that people who are on payment plans. So you've got to say, let's say 20 to 30% of people pay you in full, right? Of the remaining 80 to 70%, there's going to be 20% of those people who default, who don't finish their program, if you've got a good program that you're running. So that effectively needs to be factored in, that about 20% of people just aren't going to pay you, right?
Okay.
In terms of, so you've got 20% there. You're also, like, in terms of the cost of acquiring customers, which you mentioned beforehand, you generally, like, we work off a 5-to-1 ROI as an absolute minimum, right? That you need to be getting 5-to-1 before you can scale out your business. But it's also, some people are getting 10-to-1. There's a guy in our program at the moment who I've seen is getting like 30-to-1 every single week, right? It really depends on your niche and your brand. But I think, like, starting out, you should be factoring that 20% there, and automatically, that's the first 40%.
Yeah, well, that's it. So, I mean, basically, if you allow roughly 30% for tax, and it can depend on where you are, and if you allow roughly 20% to go to ads, that's roughly going to wipe out your 50% right there. And then obviously there's like very minimal subscription costs and all that kind of thing. But that gets you a bit of a rough idea as to how to get there. And I mean, if we look at 20% failed payments that you have to factor in, that means really what we need to do is we need to aim for 25,000 in revenue. And the reason behind that is because 20,000 is 80% of that number. So that means that even if you sell 25,000 in revenue and 20% disappear, that means you're going to lose 5,000 of the money that you think you're getting, right? You've also allowed a 50% profitability margin. Now you're in good stead.